So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Whether it's back in the day with new DVDs or then new Blu Rays or the new 4K Ultra HD versions of these movies, it's the same old Pink Panther chaos. Today we're going to dive into the Pink Panther movies on physical media, from DVD to Blu Ray to the 4K releases from Kino, and tell you why Return of the Pink Panther has always been the odd man out. And trust me, it happened long before 4K. So what are we waiting for? Let's talk the Pink Panther movie series. Let's go. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am JevMan316, your pop culture reporter. It even says that on that sign. JevMan316 Live is where you and I meet up right here. Usually Sunday nights around 9 p.m. Eastern, I do a watch along to a movie and we talk about pop culture, physical media. We talk about movie franchises. You know, if you're a horror fan, you got tons of horror franchises that stick with you throughout your life. Number one, you might have like a Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then you've got, if it's comedy / sci-fi, you know, you might have Back to the Future. Then you got the classic like Star Wars. But when it comes to comedy / maybe like crime movies, whatever, sleuthing, whatever you want to call it, there's really only one that really stuck with me throughout my entire life. And we covered the unboxing of these. These are the Pink Panther movies by Kino Lorber on a recent haul video. But I've liked these movies my whole life. I owned a majority of them on VHS, and then I purchased them again on DVD, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite DVD collections of the Pink Panther movies. Then obviously Blu Ray, but there's always been some issues with the rights to at least one of the movies out. I don't know if it existed in the VHS era, but it did in DVD. It followed it through to Blu Ray, and now it's hit it again a little bit with 4K. And what is it? Well, we'll get into that in just a minute, but I really love the franchise, so I wanted to take a deeper dive. So join me as we look at the Pink Panther movies, Inspector Clouseau, and its star, Peter Sellers.
We must find that woman.
So when people think Inspector Jacques Clouseau, who do they think of? They usually think of Peter Sellers, right? Because he didn't just play the character, he was the character. But the franchise learned early on that Clouseau without Sellers was a risky prospect. There's actually a movie that Kino released, Inspector Clouseau. Alan Arkin played the inspector, not Peter Sellers.
There is a time for laughing and a time for not laughing, and this is not one of them.
And the movie was not directed by Blake Edwards. It was directed by Bud Yorkin. Had a completely different creative team. And why did that happen? Well, after the original movie was created with Peter Sellers, they wanted him back, but he was unavailable and unwilling to return because he was starring in another movie. So, well, you can't just cast another talented actor to replace him. You can't replace those comedy instincts, the timing. The tension between the brand and the performer never went away after that. Decades later, I guess it was like covered in a biopic type movie. It was The Life and Death of Peter Sellers, starring Jeffrey Rush. I highly recommend this. I do not think it's available on Blu Ray. It also stars Charlize Theron, John Lithgow, Stanley Tucci, and Emily Watson. I really love this movie. It's got an audio commentary with the writers, with Jeffrey Rush. 8 never before seen deleted scenes. Sorry. And then a featurette. This was an HBO film, and it's actually in 16:9 aspect ratio. So seek out this movie if you want to know a little bit about the turbulent life of Peter Sellers and a little bit of behind the scenes of the actor. But I digress. Let's get more into the Pink Panther series. So speaking of DVD, I want to go ahead, and since that movie was on DVD, I want to tell you a couple of releases that I really like. Before we get into the movies, I think you should seek out this Pink Panther cartoon collection. It may be available on Blu Ray now, but I haven't replaced my 5-disc DVD collection yet because of the awesome packaging that it's in. It's in this really nice padded case, padded all the way around. I know there's been some recent releases from Vinegar Syndrome that were tight getting out of the case, and this was like one of those back in the day. I'm not going to take a deep dive into it, but I just wanted to show you the cool artwork on there. But this is highly recommended, especially if you've collected the Pink Panther movies on DVD. And why do I say that? Because one of the best releases that I had of this movie on DVD was in a similar case. It was this padded case when MGM released the movie collection, the Pink Panther film collection starring Peter Sellers, a 6-disc DVD set that had like this slipcover over it with this cool retro style artwork. And just like that Pink Panther set, it came in a padded box set. It lists the movies on the back. Obviously, you know, based on the intro songs, the opening titles of most of the movies, the Pink Panther has become the actual character itself, synonymous with the actual Inspector Clouseau character throughout the movie series. So I thought it was kind of cool to have that padded set of the movies along with the animated series. So let's talk a little bit more about the DVDs. So like I said, this was MGM. This was before Kino Lorber ever touched the series. So we had this DVD box set that was in the early 2000s, but it was a little bulky. It had really good transfers at the time for DVD. There was one glaring omission, though, that I've mentioned at the beginning. Return to the Pink Panther is not in this set. So you had to buy that separate. Was it a mistake? No, it's a rights issue. So to fill the gap, if you got that set, this is an OCD nightmare. You had to probably purchase this Artisan Entertainment version of the movie. And when that became a little hard to find, later on you could find this in the Walmart bin. $5 bin, The Return of the Pink Panther on Focus Features from Universal. So that's how the rights worked in the DVD era. It's almost like a complete like Frankenstein mix of releases if you wanted to get the entire set. So despite all that, the Pink Panther films remain a collector comfort food for movie lovers. From the Pink Panther to A Shot in the Dark, The Pink Panther Strikes Again, The Revenge of the Pink Panther, the series survived studio chaos, shifting comedy trends, and repeated identity crisis, which makes the current restoration wave especially welcome to collectors like me. Now, the Blu Rays that I have of this, you get new scans. It had some of the film grain intact. It had better color timing than the DVDs. There weren't any real digital smoothings involved in the process. They're basically collector's grade releases. Let me just go ahead and tell you. So to get the franchise on Blu-ray, you could start by getting that film by Alan Arkin that came out after the original movie, the original Pink Panther. To get most of the franchise, you could get the Shout Select box set, which is still highly sought after for collectors. You get the Pink Panther, A Shot in the Dark, Return of the Pink Panther, The Pink Panther Strikes Again, Revenge of the Pink Panther, and Trail of the Pink Panther. Now, they did a good job of getting the rights to the Return of the Pink Panther. So this set is pretty much complete with having all those films, but not totally. So this was Shout. But there's two other Kino titles that you need to get. You need to get the 1983 movie, Curse of the Pink Panther. On this Blu-ray here, it's got an interview with star Ted Waz, however you pronounce it, and a trailer gallery. So the Curse of the Pink Panther, let's talk about that. It was a movie that was designed to move on from the Clouseau character. The lead role went to Ted Waz, better known at the time for playing Danny Dallas on the hit sitcom Soap, and I love Soap. He plays an American detective sent to locate the missing Clouseau, essentially positioning him as a potential new focal point of the series. That was the plan. Keep the Pink Panther brand alive, transition away from Sellers, introduce this new lead. Audiences totally rejected it. They didn't want a replacement. What they wanted was Clouseau or nothing. But that was a problem, obviously, because Peter Sellers passed away. But it was clearly a franchise running out of road. So let's talk what was the next step. Well, in 1993, years later, they tried to reboot the series again. A decade later, they came along with Son of the Pink Panther, basically in 1993. It aimed for another full-on reboot since the last one failed. The result was louder, broader, completely disconnected from what made the series work. Critics totally destroyed it. Audiences ignored it. Blake Edwards later distanced himself from it. And that was the end of the franchise. It died, along with Peter Sellers, with Son of the Pink Panther. So, once again, another Frankenstein mix if you want to get everything. Now, The Curse of the Pink Panther and The Son of the Pink Panther are on Kino releases. I've got all those movies, the Pink Panther set from Shout, and I've got that one Clouseau movie from Kino there. So, once again, you don't have everything all together. So, along comes Kino Lorber, and along with that, they bring really high quality. These are great transfers. But they don't bring completeness yet, because Return of the Pink Panther is licensed separately. Kino had to negotiate that independently, and it made a box set at the beginning totally impossible. So as of right now, the 4K of Return of the Pink Panther is expected around March 6th of 2026. With that title, even though it didn't ship with these, you're going to have pretty much a complete collection, or at least a complete Peter Sellers collection in 4K. What's going to happen with these other movies? To me, I would like to get these in 4K. Let's get a complete box set. So if that date holds for Return of the Pink Panther, it's finally going to bring the Peter Sellers version of the series closer to completion in 4K. Very Clouseau-like if it finally does arrive after the fact. So the Pink Panther series, why does it last? Why does it still resonate with people? It's a comedy landmark. It's a masterclass in how rights issues, legacy casting, studio decisions, how all that can follow a franchise forever. From broken DVD box sets to boutique 4K restorations to incomplete works on your shelf. But thanks to Kino Lorber, we're closer to that once we get Return of the Pink Panther. So, after all that is said and done, let me know where you stand with the Pink Panther franchise. Where do you land on Trail? Where do you land on Curse? Have you even watched Son of the Pink Panther? And do you think it really does hold up? I do. Because with Clouseau, nothing ever really goes smoothly. And honestly, maybe that kind of feels exactly right for this series.
I remember. Well, that felt good.
What do you think? Put in the comments down below what versions of these have you bought over the years. Did you buy the new ones? Have you watched them? What do you think? And like I said, the future, what do you want from the future of this franchise? Or do you want it to just end with the release of Return of the Pink Panther? Put all that in the comments down below, and like, comment, subscribe, and share. Do all that normal YouTube stuff. I love you guys. Keep supporting the channel. I don't want to make this any more long-winded than I can. If you're a subscriber, great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know when I post new videos. All of my information now is down below in the description of this video. My Valoria video link, my code to get your 10% off, my eBay store, all my social media. You guys rule. Hopefully, if you like this style of video, I might do some more franchise breakdowns and how it, like this one went from VHS all the way to 4K with me. I'll tell you about more of those. Let me know in the comments down below about that as well. But other than that, I'll wrap it up by saying until next time, boys and girls, this has been JevMan316, your pop culture reporter. I'm signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.
Yes?
The special delivery.
Special delivery, a Ben. A Ben?